You're listening to the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS podcast with hosts Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook live show here on the Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm social channels. James, big day across the MLB here today. 12 games on the main slate, maybe. Howard Bender did your playbook today. That is live over on fantasyalarm.com right now. You can check all of that out for those of you who have the Fantasy Alarm All-Pro subscription. If you don't, as you see in the scroll, this is the final week to get the discount. Go to fantasyalarm.com/all-pro. Promo code MLB50 will save you 50% off that first 6 months. $19.98 a month. Comes with a 7-day free trial. Comes with our Fantasy Football Draft Guide and access to our premium Discord and access to all the premium content we have on site. But as I mentioned here, a lot of weather. Again, James, that is the story up the East Coast. I live 10 minutes outside the city of Boston. I've had thunder and rain probably for the last hour. More rain coming its way up the East Coast here. A couple other games are going to be impacted with all of that. So as we get closer to roster lock tonight, that is the key moment, key story of the night here. Paying attention to the weather, making sure that you don't have anybody that could be no longer playing due to the wind, rain, and thunder that's in the Northeast area, my friend.
Yeah, definitely a couple of games, as you mentioned, the Boston game, the Washington game. We know anytime there's rain in Washington, just immediately,
It's too bad because we love our natty.
That game is the team, not the drink.
Yeah.
Drink not good anymore, especially when you get over 30. Like, not good. It wasn't good when you were 20, but it was cheap.
There's nothing wrong with Natty Ice. 30-pack for $6. How could you break it, right? Yeah.
Well, yes, was plural or past tense, right? Like, not currently. I could
great
not
can.
tell you.
It was a great can.
Solid can. I couldn't tell you what the price is like now, but like, dude, how many like, for anyone out there, if you're still drinking Natty Ice or Light or whatever Natty, what does a 30-pack cost? $35, $40 now? Like, that's the cheapest 30-pack you could probably get out there still, but probably like $40 now. Just, I mean, I know
we would do that, and we get the kegs of Keystone, and that was like the cheapest things to do out at UMass Amherst. Yeah, Mark knows. Nice little Natty Ice lager. Exactly. Exactly. Mark was up there at UMass Amherst with me. We'd actually sit in my room and drink Miller High Lifes. So we lived the high life while we were out there at UMass.
I was a big
very cheap beer to drink.
Very cheap. All those beers. I would say I liked the Natty better than the High Life.
Sometimes a Rolling Rock, for like $8 for 18.
Yeah. I mean, I thought all the whole Miller brands, sometimes, you get the steel taste, and I'm like, I don't want to drink steel tonight. So I would usually go, before they got rid of the glass bottles, John, I used to go Old English. I was a big Old English guy. Not just when I was doing Edward 40 hands either. Yeah. Just Old English. Like, I would just sip on some oldie. And
that lasts you the night. So
that lasts you the night, sure.
You were good to go. 100%. So anyways, side topics averted or through what we got going on here today. We got a lot to get into about the slate. Before we do, though, we got our friends over at Real Time Fantasy Sports. We like to give out our RT Sports DFS Pick'em plays of the day to kick off the show. So let's get to it. James, we got our real-time fantasy sports pick'em plays here up on the screen. 2 for 3 last night. We got sold hard by our guy Corbin Carroll, man. We had the more than half a run scored by C.J. Abrams, cash. More than 7 strikeouts by Luis Castillo, cash. And then the broken line of the night, so we fought Corbin Carroll at 5.5 fantasy score. First inning, you and I are talking here, in-play runs on Corbin Carroll were like, easy money, let's go. That has to at least be a hit in our RBI to cash it. It wasn't. It was a sac fly, and it was all he did all evening against Adam Wainwright and the St. Louis Cardinals there. So let's see if we can bounce back. Let's see if we can get our friends here a winning ticket here tonight. If you go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23, new users will get a 100% deposit match up to $200. Take advantage of their RT Sports DFS Pick'em contest and best ball contest. If you're into best ball fantasy football, you can use that money in their best ball fantasy football championship and season-long contest. So check everything out there over at Real Time Fantasy Sports. Again, rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23 when you sign up. James, let's get into it. Let's build our top plays for the day. Where are you leading us off, sir?
So I'm going to head over to the West Coast, John, and I'm going to target a guy who double-donged yesterday and someone that I was a high on in the podcast yesterday, and now he gets his better split here. I'm going to go with Ha-Seong Kim over half a run, leading off for the San Diego Padres here. Look, he's going to lead off. He has really good numbers against left-handed pitching. We know the struggles of Rich Hill against right-handed pitching, or right-handed bats this year. 204 ISO allowed, 346 WOBA. Ha-Seong Kim, 248 ISO, third on the team, 397 WOBA, second on the team, ahead of Soto, ahead of Machado, ahead of Bogarts, ahead of Sanchez, only trailing Fernando Tatis against left-handed bats. So going at Ha-Seong Kim in the leadoff hole, hitting 368 over his last 10 games. He has 2 multi-run scoring games over his last 3 contests. I'm going to go over half a run for Ha-Seong Kim tonight.
I like that one. I'm going to stay in a matchup that we used last night. We're going to go with Ketel Marte more than half a run scored, James. Going up against Steven Matz here. We've talked about it all season long. Against left-handed pitching this year, Ketel Marte has absolutely raked. He's hitting 311 on the season against lefties. He's got a 175 ISO, a 383 weighted on base, a 485 slug. He hits second in their lineup. So get him on base against Steven Matz, and watch Christian Walker, Corbin Carroll, maybe Lourdes if he's in the lineup here tonight. Someone drives him in this matchup against the Cardinals. So give me Ketel Marte more than half a run to go along with your Ha-Seong Kim more than half a run play. Anybody else for you tonight? I got one more play if you got.
Yeah, run it.
We're going with Austin Slater more than half a run. It's leading off against Ken Waldichuk of the Oakland A's here. That guy is getting hammered by both lefties and righties. But Austin Slater against lefties has been absolutely mashing, leading off tonight. Again, get him on base. Watch Wilmer Flores drive him in, hopefully, and we'll cash this one with ease. Again, Waldichuk has been terrible. So more than happy to stack against him tonight with the Giants. More than happy to build a pick and play around him tonight. So that right there, Ketel Marte more than half a run. Ha-Seong Kim more than half a run. Austin Slater more than half a run, giving us an opportunity to 6x our payouts tonight over at Real Time Fantasy Sports. Again, if you're not new users, who go over there and sign up. You go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23 at sign up. Will get you a 100% deposit match up to $200. So there you have it, tonight's RT Sports Pick'em plays of the day there, James. But let's now turn our attention to the DFS slate. DraftKings main slate here for tonight. Those of you who are just tuning in, if you have any questions, get in the comment section, please. Feel free to ask your questions here tonight. James and I will be more than happy to help you out with some lineups. If you've got a FanDuel question, don't be shy. We'll be happy to answer your FanDuel questions there as well. The single entry series started over at FanDuel, James. I don't know if you were aware of that tonight, but we like playing in the single entry contest over on FanDuel, so can go check that out as well. Let's start off. Starting pitching. Got a couple of guys here. We talked about it on the show this morning that are in some pretty good spots. Howard Bender did the playbook today. We got Lopez at 10-4, Snell at 10K, Urias up at 96, Abbott at 95, Morton at 93, and Corbin Burns at 92, Verlander 91, and Merrill Kelly at 9K. It's a big slate, so we have like 7 guys over $9,000. The simple question is, who don't you want to play tonight?
Julio Urias, I think, is the first guy that I'm crossing off my list. I understand Toronto has been, you can attack them with left-handed pitching despite a righty dominant lineup. They're still not a good team against left-handed pitching overall. So I understand that. Currently 17th in OPS as a team. They don't really strike out a lot, 19%. So no thanks for Urias in current form. He gave up 8 earned runs his last time out to Baltimore. He had that 2-stretch start where he looked good against Pittsburgh and the Mets, but so is everybody except you, Darvish, against Pittsburgh and the Mets. So I would say Urias, Charlie Morton, especially based on the weather now. Like there's weather and Boston's lineup is really good. And then Merrill Kelly returning, I know he threw 75 pitches in the complex most recently before his return. I know it's just a calf injury, but he hasn't pitched in a full month. So what is his pitch limit here? And at $9,000, there's just better options, like every other name outside of Urias and Morton at 9K or above.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at as well here. I kind of, I like Verlander, but now we have to worry about the rain that's going to be running through there. Again, waiting for the most updated weather report. This was a game that had an opportunity to maybe have a late start, or something that they could play through some of the lighter weather. If there is no issues, Verlander was one of my favorite matchups on this board. Again, the Yankees, just an offense that's struggling. They had one of the lowest team WOBAs against right-handed pitching in baseball, especially with Aaron Judge out of their lineup, and Verlander's been pitching pretty well here. So I liked him at 91. You talk Corbin Burns and that strikeout potential just faced this Cincinnati team a couple starts ago, and had 13 strikeouts over 6 shutout innings against them. Faced them the start before that, 6 innings, 2 earned runs there. So really holding them down. And so you're getting elite pitching at low 9Ks. It doesn't really make sense to spend up 10-4 for Lopez or 10K for Snell, even if they're in good spots, because there are guys in this range that can give you the same production for $1,000 cheaper.
I'm a little on the fence about the way you just worded that.
Sure.
I don't disagree with getting to those guys, but or just not getting to those guys, I should say, but not because I don't we kind of saw it last night, and I know last night was last night and tonight's a new night, but we kind of said that about Luis Castillo to Darvish, right? You can just save $1,200 for similar production going from Castillo to Darvish. And that obviously bit us in the ass. And now Darvish has not been good, and we should have.
I was going to say, there was definitely a little bit more inconsistency with Darvish. We were taking more so the matchup than the pitcher in that spot.
Yes. But Snell has been basically the best version of himself for 2 months, except for his last start against Toronto with 7 walks, but he still managed to just allow 1 earned. That was the only start since May 25th where he didn't get 20 fantasy points. So talk about pretty much a rock solid floor. Plus, this could be most likely his last start in a Padres jersey.
Sure.
Andrew Abbott, 95. We know how good he's been. And Pablo Lopez, I mean, truthfully, he's flashed the highest ceiling out of anyone on this slate, given the complete game shutout with 12 strikeouts. And he gets Seattle, who struck out more than anyone other than the team that Pablo Lopez pitches for, right? So I know what you're saying, where you could, and we did it on the podcast, you could just go to Corbin Burns and Verlander, or Corbin Burns and George Kirby, who we're going to get to. But I'm also not crossing off Lopez and Snell off my player pool personally. I still have them in my player pool tonight. Yeah. The field is kind of in line with that too. I mean, Corbin Burns is the highest rostered expected pitcher tonight.
Yeah.
Which I don't think me or you have any problems with, considering how good he's been, but Snell and Lopez are right there too. So I could get.
I agree with you. I guess you're talking ceilings, obviously, with Lopez, and for sure, 50 fantasy points is in the bag, right? I mean, for the most part, he's giving you 22 ceiling, right? Like,
Sure.
So anybody else down here can give you 22 fantasy points, so
Right.
that's kind of where I'm at, especially, you look at someone like George Kirby, the tier kind of below them here, coming off 10 strikeouts in the same exact spot. We don't generally think
Right.
he has a high strikeout ceiling, but in the right matchup, he does. So, like, again, like, I'd rather save the money and go for George Kirby in a matchup where we know the strikeout potential's there, and better potential equity in this game for him given the opponent. So I don't know. I am probably not spending up for Lopez or Snell tonight. If that's the chalk, that's fine. I think I can match their production with guys that are cheaper today.
Yeah, I mean it's so like the argument to play Kirby is very interesting because he's 11% projected, which is much lower than I figured he would be. But also then you look at when you go down to the next tier, everyone's playing Cobb or
Yeah.
Savale. So that's where I think we're getting the Snell and Lopez ownership, where like you can where we built on the podcast this morning, we used two 9K guys, or essentially two 9K guys, where if you're using Snell and Savale, that's $17,000, where you use Corbin Burns and Verlander, that's $18,000.
Yeah.
So you have like a little bit of money left over with the Snell pairing. I'm just saying, like, I do agree where Kirby at 11%, incredibly interesting because he's the cheapest one of all that tier that we mentioned.
Right.
And he had 30 plus fantasy points against the same team 5 days ago.
Yeah, that's just kind of where I'm kind of looking at it. Now, again, if you go to Vegas odds, obviously, they obviously favor Snell and Lopez in those spots here. But for me, it's more so, again, just can I match that production? Do I think that they can give me 22 fantasy points at $9,200, $9,300 versus 24 fantasy points at 10-4, right? That's if Snell or Lopez go for the moon and go give 35, 50 fan, then fine. Like, I lose. But if I can get within a range and then it allows me to spend up for the hitters that I need, then that's fine there as well. Welcome, guys, into the chat. I see you all in there. Mark, the Prince, Ryan, all popping back in here. Working around there. Massive chalk. Darvish never ends well. Yep. 60% of the field played Yu Darvish last night, and 60% of the field watched the Pittsburgh Pirates slap him around the field there as well. So, and no Twins season here tonight. I mean, probably not tonight. Probably won't get there, but they didn't necessarily not come through last night. Guys that we liked in the Twins did do some damage there against Castillo. So, all relative there. So listen, I get you, Lopez. Now we talked about guys we're not playing. You mentioned Urias. Morton's probably in there for the weather / Red Sox lineup. So out on that one. I'm less bullish on Abbott than you are here. Not saying like you're calling him your favorite player, but a few weeks back in our chat, I answered the question about who to drop, and I suggested Abbott. And obviously he went on that wild strikeout run, but like the numbers still all kind of are there, right? Like his 2.10 ERA is met with a 4.6 xFIP. He has a 95% left on base percentage. Very unsustainable number, right? Like, he doesn't give up a lot of ground balls, just a 22% ground ball rate, but only a 9% home run to fly ball rate. So giving up a lot of fly balls, leaves a lot of men on base. He has a 190 batting average and balls in play against him. Last couple of weeks, we've seen the Brewers hit lefties better. They're home. Like Abbott in Milwaukee, we just saw this matchup. He gave up 6 runs in that game. 2 home runs allowed there. So I don't know. I am less bullish on Abbott. I feel like at some point those underlying numbers may come to roost here on him.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that he's only 6% rostered in tournaments. Like, that's really appealing considering the rest of this tier is all 20% or higher. Like, outside of Urias and Charlie Morton, which I understand why no one's playing them.
Right.
I mean, Milwaukee, we know, strikes out a lot against lefties. I'm trying to pull up their last since the start of July against lefties, see what their strikeout rate is. But again, I'm what part of their team has improved that just suddenly they're going to hit lefties at a better clip. I know that they hit Abbott over the last. I guess they have been
So I'm saying
much better
they've
against
been
lefties.
better. They've been better against lefties lately.
5th highest OPS in the month of July against left-handed.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. They're still striking out a lot, 100%. But
not 21% in July. It's not even. That's 16th in baseball.
Yeah, they're 26th, I think, overall in the year against lefties. But
26 overall, yeah.
But yeah, that's where my hesitation are. Now, you said nobody's really playing him anyways, 11%. Over the last 6%. Over the last 2 weeks, they rank 29th in strikeout rates, 15% against lefties. Just they've turned a corner and they're home. So I am out on Abbott here this evening. So, but you mentioned going down into the mid tier, Savali or Cobb as your two options down in this middle range here. Over on DraftKings Sportsbook, under 2.5 earned runs for Savali is -150. So again, you're looking at a guy that DraftKings thinks is going to give up less than 2.5 earned runs. His outs prop is set at 17.5, -130 in the over. So you're looking at 6 innings, 2 earned, handful of strikeouts here up against the Royals, and he's sitting at $7,200. So
yeah, I remember we went into that start for Savale before the break, and we were like, if he just gives us the start against the Cubs again or with a win, it would be great. And then he went out if he just goes out and gives us the Oakland start, 6 2/3, and then he has a ceiling game against the Royals.
9 Ks, He's -180 over 4.5 strikeouts today. So why they even set 4.5 strikeouts, I don't know, but
I think he goes 7 scoreless, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts? No. We do know the Royals stink against right-handed pitching. We do know that it's possible. So somewhere in the middle, I definitely think 20+ fantasy points for Savali is on the table.
I'm in. Would you rather Savali over Cobb tonight, given the matchups here, or are you in on Cobb more?
Savali.
Yeah.
And I think Oakland's been a little better lately, and Cobb has been far more inconsistent than Savali has.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as well. And there's nobody down below we're looking at, right? No interested parties. I didn't think so. Let's get into the catcher spot. I keep refreshing to see if we get an updated weather report. When we do, I will let you know. As I say, I speak it to truth. Let's see here. Better improved forecast for the Mets Yankees, so that's good for Verlander. According again, our guy over at Roto Grinders, Kevin Roth, the fantasy DFS weatherman. Worst of the rain's cleared. They should play without issue. So, like that Mets Yankees game, going back to Verlander for me down there. And then it's Red Sox Boston. He says, how bad do they want to play? It's going to be raining for a couple hours after first pitch. If they waited out till 9 or 10 o'clock, they could start it. So, perfect weather tomorrow. Could decide to play a doubleheader. We'll see. Again, I live outside of Boston. It's thundering and raining here now. So.
Also, John, speaking of Boston, no more Kike Hernandez. Thoughts on his Boston career?
Was good in the playoffs 2 years ago. Was unplayable this year. He had I think they said he had a -1.5 WAR this year or something like that. So
that's just gonna fit perfect with the Dodgers. Yeah, he's gonna play a lot over there.
So weather's improving. Baltimore, Philly. That's not even on the slate, right? That's a 6 o'clock game.
Not even on
the. Colorado, Washington. Still potential. He thinks there could be a late start there. So it's Washington. Pay attention to roster lock. The Yankees game looks better. Boston, probably a fade for me. Seattle, Minnesota still looking good there. So that's our updated weather report. Let's move on over to the catcher spot here. I see your questions there. We'll get to everybody in a moment as we work our way through. As we do hit the hitters, though, let's answer Ryan's question here. Do you guys prefer 5-man stacks or mini stacks more? Can I middle you? I think 5-man is too much because you're basically playing an entire lineup. Now, certainly some nights that will pay off if they score 12 runs like we saw like the Rangers do last night. But more often than not, I am maybe 3-man stacking. In the right spot, I'll 4-man stack. In the right spot, I'll 2-man stack. But 5 is too much. So I don't ever 5-man. Mini stacks probably the more likely outcome for me. 3 stacks is probably the more common I do. How about you, James?
I 5-man every so often. So
Yeah, the right
I do
matchup,
it.
sure, but it's not like an everyday build.
No, it's not. I mean, like on a 12-game slate, like you're really hindering yourself. I think on smaller slates, 5-mans play better. Like on yesterday's slate, if you 5-man, it could have worked, and
Yeah,
but not on a 12-game slate. You're like Coors is the best example. Like you can 6-man stack that game,
yeah,
like 7-man stack that game. Like so. I'm okay doing 5-mans. It's not an everyday thing.
yeah. I'm with you there. Catcher spot here again. So obviously mindful of the weather. Talk to me about some of your favorite plays here because again, I've kind of keyed in on a few. When it's 7 lefties against Twins versus Lance Lynn. Exactly, Mark. That's when you 5-man stack. Whenever Lance Lynn's facing lefties on the Twins, we go Yabo there. William Contreras against Abbott is my top catcher here. So he hits lefties. I think Abbott is due to get hit. It's $4,600. I like Milwaukee tonight.
Yeah, I have no issues going there as the top catcher as well. That would be really the only guy I would play over $4,500 as well.
Yeah, I think we're probably both in alignment there because there's value guys we like. I like Alvarez against Herman. I know Herman's had a lot of strikeouts. The Mets don't strike out a lot. So if they're not striking out, Herman has a propensity of giving up hits and runs if he's not missing bats. So Alvarez is 38. Kybert, pray this game plays. I want to play the Nationals so bad again tonight here against Austin Gomber. $3,400 for Kybert Ruiz would be a core play for me if this game goes off.
Yeah, he's been awesome. He continues to hit 417 average his last 10. I think it's up to a 9-game hitting streak over that span. 4 multi-hit games over his last 6. He's been great. It's an amazing spot. So, yeah, I think Kybert's firmly in play. Patrick Bailey for a couple $100 more. He's hitting lefties extremely well. I know he's slowed down from where he was earlier. I know this is not a fantastic hitting environment considering this game is played in San Francisco, but against lefties this year, Patrick Bailey leads the team in ISO and WOBA. And I know it's just a 50 plate appearance sample, but it's been consistent since he joined the team that he's been the best against lefties. So I do like Patrick Bailey as well as Kybert in this match.
Sure. I'm with you there. Mark has a question here because Riley Adams also playing today for Washington. So they're likely DHing, I would assume, Kybert. I haven't seen their starting lineup yet, so but that's obviously out. Riley Adams, another guy that is hammering lefties. 314 on the year, though, the last 10 games, 930 OPS. Would you rather Riley hitting down 8th in this Washington lineup or Kybert hitting 5th for a few dollars more?
Yeah, I mean, Kybert is DHing, so you were right. I mean, Riley Adams' numbers are better, but he was bad against lefties last year in a bigger sample. So what sample is true and what sample is kind of a facade? I would rather Kybert Ruiz, but I understand there is a $600 worth of savings tonight going from one to the other. So there's no ownership discrepancy that we could take advantage of.
Yeah, it all depends on preference there. Yeah, and if you need the salary. You also have Bo Naylor down here against Greinke. I don't know your thoughts on that matchup for him.
Yeah, lefties and any lefty that breathes and steps on a baseball field against Zach Greinke
could be a punt play there at $2,500. So we're in on tonight. Just to quickly recap: William Contreras against Abbott, Sabal against Waldichuk, Alvarez, Kybert Ruiz, and I'll give a good shout to Mark for Riley Adams. Carson Kelly's there as well against Mats. No Gabriel Moreno A guy historically has hit lefties well. So if you want to go there at 3K, I think that's a play that we could take a peek at as well today. First base, Freeman versus Bassett today. His hits, runs, and RBIs prop on DraftKings Sportsbook was set at 2.5. That prop is generally 1.5. Tonight it is 2.5. So, Freeman versus Bassett here. Numbers for Bassett against lefties are horrid. Pretty much the only damage he gives up is the lefties. So if you want to spend all the way up, we've definitely given you some outs, and we'll give out some more outs on this show for some value to help you pay up for Freddie Freeman here tonight.
Yeah. Speaking to those numbers, Chris Bassett against lefties, 258 ISO allowed, 385 WOBA. Those are actually getting better because they were around 300 and 400 for a large part of the year. So kudos to Chris Bassett for just simply being a little better lately. Because he was a really good pitcher for the last few years. And I don't know what got into him not being able to get lefties out, but Freeman is one of the hottest hitters across baseball. Only one hit yesterday. I was shocked to see just one because every game it's been multi-hits lately. So, Freeman's the top dog here. That's like it for me at the top, though, John. Like you can play Christian Walker, obviously.
Too expensive for you?
I feel best about Christian Walker in a stack, because I just think there's a lot of value at this position today, and I don't want to miss out on some of it when I think third base is a clear spend-up spot, outfield is a clear spend-up spot. So,
did you see Mr. Bellinger has first base outfield now?
I did.
Because this is one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball, and Kopech sucks. So,
yep. If you need to find a spot, if you don't have a spot for Bellinger in the outfield, I obviously have no
problem.
No
problems going there. Yeah, I'm with you.
No problem using him at first. No.
So he's there. The other Naylor here, Josh Naylor, maybe working himself into, I don't know, an RBI title. 76 RBIs, 15 homers, 306, 852. You talked about Greinke numbers against lefties. Naylor's been ridiculous lately as well with the power. So at 4K, you're getting Josh Naylor here.
Yeah, he is 5th in baseball in RBIs. Let's see. Is this American League? No, yeah. He's 5th in baseball. Matt Olson, Adolis Garcia are up 4 on him. Nolan Arenado and Ohtani are on 1. So he is 4 down, and he's played 10 games fewer than everyone else above him, just for the record. Did spend, I think, time on the IL this year. So, I think he's my favorite first baseman of the day, just given the numbers that Greinke has this year. Against lefties, he has a 13% strikeout rate. He has a 226 ISO, a 398 WOBA, a 47.2% hard hit percentage. And Josh Naylor on the flip side, 210 ISO against righties, 379 WOBA against righties. So I love Josh Naylor here. I think he's still too cheap. If he's going to continue to drive in runs at this high clip, incredibly safe floor. And we've seen, if you just look through his box scores, he has massive games on his ledger. He has a lot of multi-driven in run games here. So I think Naylor is my favorite first baseman of the day.
Yeah, it's such a great spot for him, and the way he's been playing lately, just tremendous potential there. But there's obviously a lot of value. We like Wilmer Flores against Waldichuk here tonight. Again, one of the hottest hitters in baseball. I like Meneses against Gomber in the middle of that lineup. Another really great spot. Obviously the Boston game's not playing, but Costas would have been a pretty good play. Josh Bell, another guy that's hot for this team right now, and he's going to come from the left side of the plate against Greinke. So there's a lot of value here that you want to go down. Sadly, we won't be talking any Alex Kirilloff here this evening, but we can go a lot of different ways with the value tier too.
I wish we could get some Naylor Bell different lineup positions.
Oh yeah, you want to just make one an outfielder for no reason just to get the eligibility?
I mean,
they do it for Ohtani.
They do it for dude. They do it for everybody. They do it for literally every person on Like Brandon Belt had outfield eligibility
True.
for like a week. Like,
True.
come on, dude. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yep, I'm with you there. So that's what we're looking at here at first base. Again, guys, any questions, feel free to throw them in chat. James and I happy to help y'all out there. Getting to second base here. Is Ezekiel Duran still second base and they move him around? Where do they got him these days? Duran, shortstop. I see your question there on Ezekiel Duran. We'll get to it in one moment here. Finish second base. So Betts, McLean, Simeon, your top guys here, but price-wise, you also throw Ketel Marte in there at 56. I liked Marte. We liked him in our RT Sports pick-em plays here. But do you find yourself spending all the way up for any of these guys today?
No, like you can obviously always play Mookie Betts. He's fine. You can obviously play McLean if you're stacking Reds against Corbin Burns. I don't advise it, but they're very low owned today, obviously, with Burns being the highest roster pitcher. The Semien versus France play is interesting because JP France has been so reverse split heavy where he's stunk against righties and been really dominant against lefties. And like 202 ISO, 327 WOBA allowed to righties, 061 WOBA or ISO allowed to lefties. So we know Semien's good against right-handed pitching, but he's also just kind of been underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like he's not hitting a lot of home runs, not stealing a lot of bases, and he's almost $6,000. I feel like the Ketel Marte play is just better. Like Ketel Marte is hitting for power. He's cheaper, and he's been really good against left-handed pitching for his entire career. So, yeah, I'd rather play Ketel Marte than anyone else. You could play Semien if you wanted to. Ozzy Albies is getting a lot of love in terms of ownership.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how that pans out. Next
Weather-wise,
update we get.
yeah.
Yeah, because the weather. So, sometimes I don't think ownership really bakes in weather all that well, which, because as long as the game is currently being played, like they're going to give you ownership for that game. So like that is a little misleading, but
you're obviously in on Kim here at 40.
Yeah, I mean, he's my top second baseman.
2 homers last night, led off the game with a homer. You mentioned his numbers against lefties here are pretty legit on the season. So he's 44. Houston has Texas here. Texas is going with an opener, and then they'll have Bradford come in, the lefty. So you can still go Dubon if you want to. Not really scared of Geloff against Cobb. Again, don't really care much about Cobb there. What other value you guys are you sort of keying in on here tonight?
I mean, you can go to Brendan Donovan, 3 hits and 2 runs scored again yesterday. Just another good game. Andres Jimenez. When is he going to turn around? I don't know if this is the year he's gonna, but 3,600 against Greinke, it's a good spot. Yeah. Monasterio is hitting 4th if you don't believe in Andrew Abbott.
Yeah, interesting to have him hitting cleanup, right? Like,
yeah,
2,400. I mean,
he's been good, and he's obviously a large part on why they've been better as a whole. It's a really small sample, so take this for what it's worth. It's a 34 plate appearance sample, John. 443 WOBA for Andrew Monasterio, who spells his name like Andrew Jones. And anyone that spells a name like Andrew Jones is probably going to be good at baseball. Sure. So, yeah, I mean, Monasterio is like interesting at $2,400. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, hitting cleanup is nice. All right, let's get on over to third base here. You mentioned you wanted to spend up at third. Who are we spending up for? We have Bregman, Riley, Cruz, Arenado, Machado, Ramirez. Where's the spend up happening for you?
Well, Bregman, first and foremost, has been amazing. Another 3 hits yesterday. I mean, just like peak version of Alex Bregman lately, which, has been lost for the last like year and a half. So it's good to see. I don't know if it had anything to do with the wrist injury from a couple years ago where he just wasn't hitting for any power. I don't know if it's finally back, but he looks really good. If the Boston game does play, I have no problem getting to Riley. 6 home runs in his last 10 games is obviously elite. But Machado and Jose Ramirez for me are 2 of the better plays. Machado's been great against left-handed pitching his entire campaign. And I mean, if you haven't noticed, another game where San Diego's implied 5 runs and not a lot of people are like getting to them. 391 Woba, 195 isolated power for Machado. Just one hit yesterday, but the top half of this Padres lineup hits lefties extremely well. So I like Machado. I like Jose Ramirez, lefty against Greinke. And then I'll just throw Muncy in there. I don't know if you saw the home run he hit yesterday, but all he's been doing is hitting home runs. It was so violent, the home run he hit yesterday, and all he's doing is hitting violent home runs. So, I would throw Muncy into that top tier because we talked about the Bassett thing.
Yeah.
One thing Bassett struggles with is lefty bats, and Muncy is.
I mean, like you said, he is heating up, right? 4 homers the last 5. He's got hits now in 5 straight games. So no better time than now to jump on the Max Muncy train if he's getting hot. So definitely in there for you. BZ, I see your question. We also got another shortstop question. We'll get those two in a second when we hit the shortstop position here. Mid-tier third baseman, what's your go-to? Or is there any third baseman in the mid-tier that you find yourself gravitating towards? I, of course, Candelario, but we got that. We have to have that game play. It's $3,700. It's too cheap. It's homer again last night. Like, love myself some John Candelario. We need this game to go off.
It's probably him and McMahon in the same game. Those are probably the 2 mid-tier third basemen that I would play.
McMahon here against Trevor Williams, $4,100.
He stunk and he got scratched yesterday, but he's been good this year against right-handed pitching overall.
Anybody else at third for you?
Do we have an Arizona lineup? Let's see.
See who's playing.
Yeah, I want to see who's playing at third. I would play no Arizona lineup that I see anywhere. Yeah. One of the two between a Rivera and Longo, I would play.
Longoria is 36, Rivera is 34. So if you had to pick Candelario or Diamondbacks, which one would you prefer?
Candelario.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Again, this game has to play. Watch out for the weather. All right, shortstops here. Let's jump to the question before we break down the position. BZ wants to know, I guess he wanted to know Monasterio or Chang, but Chang
second, third.
Yeah, Monasterio. So let us know your question. And then earlier on in the show, our guy Faziel, apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly there, but Ezekiel Duran, a guy that we've enjoyed playing a lot this year. Now shortstop only, thanks DraftKings, taking away all of his positional eligibility. Down to $3,300 against France here. Thoughts on Duran? You mentioned the reverse splits for JP France.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot. Reverse splits for JP France, and Duran's been good against righties. 170 ISO, 330 WOBA. High strikeout rate, almost 28%. Doesn't walk at all, 2.9%. That's the lowest mark on the team, but hitting 7th behind Jung and Heim, it's a good little stack there for the back half of that Rangers lineup could be just as potent as the top half. So I like Duran hitting 7th. Is he my favorite shortstop of the day? No, but he's definitely in the player.
I'll say I don't. There wasn't many shortstops I liked today. That are up top. I think you could maybe get the Bichette because I don't know. Well, you tell me. Is anybody playing the Blue Jays today against Urias?
Doesn't look like it. Bichette 2% on.
This is what I'm saying. If you want to get different on a big 12-game slate tonight, Toronto's got a lot of talent, and Urias kind of sucks right now. So. Maybe there's potential for a boom spot there. We passed third base. We'll go back quickly. Michael Rojas here wants to know Mastroboni for the Cubs. Any interest for him? Value play? Don't need to go there.
I mean, I know he's been kind of decent. Kopech's been bad against lefties. If you want to go there,
2K min price hitting 9th.
Yeah, if you wanted to go there, he's had a couple good games lately. You can
gives you a wraparound play, maybe with Bellinger, I guess. So,
he has not had good numbers against righties this year. Last 30 days he's been better, but it's been a really small sample. If it's necessary, I'm seeking out to play Mastroboni. You have 2K left at third, sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, so Duran we talked about. Abrams was the guy again that I wanted to plug, even against a Gomber and lefty. All in on Abrams here at 35. That game has to play though, for that to matter. So If that game doesn't play, I probably just play Kim actually at shortstop tonight, and not at second base. Go a different direction at second base and go from there.
Yeah, that's probably the best approach. I agree. I don't hate Geraldo Perdomo or Nick Ahmed, whoever starts at shortstop for Arizona today. I could see myself getting to Tim Anderson, who's been better of late. I know the power hasn't been there, but he's starting to run a little bit more. 3 multi-hit games over his last 10. He's really cheap. Ezekiel Tovar hitting second. I love that. Like, please just hit this guy near the top of the lineup. Yeah. And Trevor Williams, again, and like you said, the game needs to play. Trevor Williams has been awful against righties this year. Right. 238 ISO allowed, 344 WOBA allowed. Tovar coming off 3 hits yesterday, hitting second, has pretty good lineup hitting behind him. So, kind of like him for cheap, but I largely agree. Like, it's probably, I'm probably playing Kim as my plug and play shortstop because second base did have more than usual.
I would agree. Oakland announced they have an opener here tonight. I think we expected that for Waldichuk anyways, but Taylor Scott, righty, opening. He'll throw about an inning. He hasn't really gone much deeper than, into the second here. So going in there. So it doesn't change my opinion of anybody going up against Waldichuk tonight for the Giants. Just a mention that they'll have a righty out there early on. Thanks for the kind words, Tyler. You're great too. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for always paying attention and tuning into what we got going on here. Again, don't be afraid. Ask your questions. We're more than happy to help you guys out. So
words are hard sometimes, Sean. All good.
You're reading and talking at the same times. It's crazy what happens to your brain. All right, let's move on over to outfield position. A lot of guys up over 6K. Cunha, Betts, Tatis, Tucker, Robert Carroll. We keyed in on Tucker last night. Nothing really changing for me. I think Tatis, Tucker are my top 2 here.
Yeah, Tatis and Tucker, probably the top 2 for me as well. I have come around on Luis Robert a little bit here today, John. Look, Kyle Hendricks is still a guy that's like a little scary to like when you watch him pitch. Like, he throws 85 miles an hour. And he's kind of given up a little power to right-handed bats specifically this year. And 175 ISO lately, over his last 30 days, 156 ISO allowed to righties on the year. And Luis Robert has 22 bombs against righties this year, 285 ISO against righties this year. I don't know, like, could you, like, 40% fly ball rate for Kyle Hendricks. The White Sox have a 5 implied run total. I could see Robert leaving the yard here. Like, Tatis and Tucker are number 1 and number 2 for me, but I think Robert is like very close behind when we're just talking spend ups in the outfield.
Yeah, that's fine. I think he's. I mean, the power just in general, he deserves to be in most things. Our guy Bowers in the chat. Thanks for tuning in here. Flores lock, Kim lock, single game FanDuel as always. Yeah, man. The single entry series is back on FanDuel. I'll be over there in those streets here this evening, entering some of those single entry contests that they got going on there. Like that Flores Kim duel. Let's see if we can find some more outfielders for you to build your lineups around. Talk to me about this next tier of guys. We talked about the 6K range. Getting down into the 5Ks. Anybody for you that stands out? Or are we looking more, again, down into that 4K and below range?
Like, George Springer is fine. If you want to play Blue Jays, he'll be low owned. I got to ask, though, John. I just got to ask. I know we're not used to seeing Chas McCormick at $4,900.
Yeah.
Is it? Like, I mean, it just feels kind of worth it at this point. Like, 6 RBIs yesterday, goes deep again, 5 home runs, 14. Would you pay $4,900 for Chas McCormick? I know that's
the problem with the McCormick prices. You used to be able to play Chas McCormick and Kyle
31.
One was 3K and one was 6K.
I know.
And now you're really pressing yourself out of a full Houston stack here. But
yeah,
if you want to, listen, Bradford's coming in this game. So a lefty is going to be on the mound for Texas at some point here. So I don't hate it. I don't think it's impossible. We've talked about a lot of value on this slate. So if you want to double spend, we're going to get to a whole lot of value outfield. There's a whole lot of value outfield that we like tonight. So, you got to keep that in mind. Below McCormick is Thomas. Glad he's in the game. Got hit by a pitch last night. Needed to get pinch ran for. Back in the lineup tonight, but we need to see if Washington plays or not in that game because of the weather. We've talked about Bellinger. Obviously, we really like him in his matchup against Kopech there as well. Moving on down the list. If you liked Robert, do you like Jimenez at 4K, or is it just Robert play his own?
Yeah, I'm okay playing a 2-man. I'm also okay throwing Tim Anderson in there.
We got a Diamondbacks lineup here. It is interesting.
It is interesting.
No Corbin Carroll tonight. Corbin
Okay.
Carroll out of the lineup. Ketel Marte is leading off. Jake McCarthy's hitting second. Lourdes is hitting third. Walker fourth. Longo, Rivera, Ahmed, Kelly, and Alec Thomas there. So
we got Longo and Rivera.
Got them both.
And we got them both.
McCarthy hitting second. Marte leading off. No Corbin Carroll here this evening against Steven Matz. So
all right. McCarthy's actually been good against lefties this year.
I don't hate it. I like Marte leading off, I think. So
yes.
Would have probably liked a half a run knowing that Corbin Carroll was hitting behind him.
I agree.
Sometimes you can't hit every prop. So we'll see. We'll see if he can just do the damage by himself. Certainly can. Steven Matz is terrible. So, So anyways, groupings there. Jimenez, as you mentioned, good in. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay. You called Nolan Jones last night. You said he hits lefties well. He homers. Now he's got Trevor Williams here. We got to be in on Nolan Jones at 39 if that game's in, right?
Also hits righties well. So yeah. Yep.
And Quan's not going to do anything but double, but maybe score some runs. Let's see. Other values as we move our way down the board here. Willie Benson against Corbin. Probably a little tougher matchup for him.
Slater, your boy Slater, 35.
Yeah, I passed him, right, because he wasn't in the lineup yet. Slater, if he leads off for sure, $3,500. Crazy numbers against right-handed pitching, left-handed pitching this year. So I do like him a lot. Good, easy. You can stack the San Francisco guys. They're super easy to do. They're all under 4K. So you can fit them in your lineups and play them as you see fit there this evening. Let's see. Janikowski's hitting second again. Leotis is hitting ninth against France. I'm fine going there if you want. McCarthy's 29, as you mentioned, against Matz, hitting second tonight.
Grishik, 32.
Grishik's 32. Stone Garrett's up to sixth at $2,700. Alex Collins hitting ninth for him. Weimer is hitting fifth tonight against Abbott. Again, a lot of power against lefties for Joey Weimer here. Also a guy that could be in play. Anybody else for you for value?
Nothing else that stands out. Let's see if there's anything on the ownership front, but I don't think
just Jacoby Jones? No, Giovanni Jones.
There's a lot of Cubs love here in the outfield, John, in ownership world.
Okay. Say Cap, yeah.
Not say actually, yeah, say it too. It's actually Hap, Bellinger, Tauchman, three of the highest rostered outfielders, and that's because the lefty split that Kopech has been so bad against.
Sure.
And Tauchman has been okay. He's 3,300. He's leading off. So
yeah. Yes, Jordan is not activated yet for tonight's lineup. They're projecting him to. Baker said Tuesday or Wednesday, so obviously it's not in on Tuesday. So Jordan out for today. So adjust the lineups. I know we used this morning's example lineup had Jordan in there, expecting him. Pivot to Chas if you want to. If you want to keep the Houston lineup alive, obviously some other guys up at the top there. So, all right, give me your home run call.
Home run call tonight is going to be Manny Machado.
On the Better Sports Betting Show right before the DFS show this afternoon, I gave Christian Walker out plus 450 on the over half home run. So we'll stay consistent there for those tuning into both shows. Christian Walker will be my home run call this evening. Top stack of the day for you, James.
I'm going to go Padres as my top stack. Against the 65-year-old Rich Hill.
That feels pretty good. I'm going to go I'm going to go. See, it's weird because they're all so cheap. I want to go with the Giants, but I guess they'll be my value stack here. I like the Giants and the Nationals as like value stacks. Give me Toronto. Give me Toronto as a top spend up stack. They'll be contrarian. No one's playing them. Urias has struggled. You can get Springer, Bichette, Vladdy in a lineup and run there against Urias. So we'll go there. Only because you can't play Boston or Atlanta because of the rain. That kind of sucks.
Yep.
Got to cancel that game out there. Value stacks I already gave them for me. I like San Francisco and Washington is losing that game plays. Where are you going?
I'm going to go the other side of the Washington game. I'm going to go Colorado.
Okay.
Trevor Williams.
Give me your value play of the day.
Value play of the day, Randall Grichuk, 32, or Nolan Jones, 39. I'll go Nolan Jones, 39. I like the matchup a little better.
Okay. I'm going Candelario at 37, assuming game's got to play. If not, Wilmer Flores at first base for me is my value play in that spot. So, all right, let's give our lineups at a couple minutes left. Let's build a lineup. Those of you who are tuning in now, if you got any lineup questions, get it in now. James and I will answer it for you before we exit the show. James, we've talked about some mid-tier guys down here like Savale. We've mentioned some top-up spend-ups. Where are you looking to go?
Let's go Corbin Burns. And do you want to do Kirby or do you want to spend down to Savale?
Let's go Savale and see what we can spend up for. Okay. Catcher spot.
Kybert,
okay. Again, assuming weather. Guys, this lineup being built here is assuming this game plays. Pay attention to roster lock. We may have to pivot if you decide to plug it in here. First base for you, Naylor?
Yeah, Naylor or Wilmer, but I think Naylor's better.
Okay. Second base here.
Marte. I went to
we wanted
Kim at short.
So
I played Kim at short.
Marte?
Yep.
Okay. Third base. I still like kind of Candelario.
Yeah, play Candelario.
Okay. Outfield, 4,100. Let's get our value outfielder in here. You like Nolan Jones or Grichuk? Which one did you care for?
Nolan Jones. Grichuk will provide us more salary if you want.
Sure. We had Grichuk there. What was our other value play? Let's go Stone at 27, and that'll give us a 59er. We're just away from our top guy. Let's see, how can we get Tucker?
Kirby.
Riley Adams. There it is. Burns, Savale, Adams, Naylor, Marte, Candelario, Kim, Jones, Garrett, and Tucker for everybody there. Mark, do we like Gary Sanchez? Quickly.
Yes.
In on Gary Sanchez. Get us in the Discord. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, check it out at there. FantasyAlarm.com/all-pro. Promo code MLB50 saves you 50% off the first 6 months. Gets you in the Discord. Gets you the 7-day free trial, Fantasy Football Draft Guide, and all of it involved there. Get us on Twitter as well. Ask us questions at JMPemba777, at @the_real_Grande.